Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to day 8 of our 18 days of yoga. And today you can see there are no props.
Okay, so you don't need anything, you have no excuse, just your mat and your enthusiasm.
So just to remind you, day 1 and day 7 are our longer routines, and we are going through the week just giving a little bit more explanation to those poses in those longer routines. So if you want a longer routine, go to day 1 or day 7 so far.
Yes, and these just help to consolidate your understanding of the poses that we're doing.
Okay, so we've got 3 poses today. They are standing poses. So standing in Tadasana, now we did go through that in our tutorial in day 2. So just remember these actions. Feet together, legs become very strong. You've got to see that they're activating. To do this, it's really good to take the weight back into the heel because this will ignite the body. And remember, we're made up of lots of different bones and they need to stack evenly on top of one another. And that's part of the problem, isn't it? Because quite often we find that our posture really affects how we practice our yoga. So this is really our base pose, Tadasana. Now, Leo's going to take her arms forward for Urdhva hastasana. Now you've got to remember that actually we can't let just the arms do the work. We've got to ground down into the legs, we've got to lift up out of the pelvis and then take the arms up above the head. So this might be challenging for some of you. But remember, you've got to keep this extension through the centre of the body, and we can do that from grounding our legs even more, being sure there's a sharpness in the outer foot bones and a lift of those insteps. So this takes a while to master. If we master it at all, it's always improving. And then taking the arms down and come back for Tadasana. So be sure that now when you're in your Tadasana, you're lifting this armpit chest up towards the ceiling. We're just getting ready to jump for our lateral pose. As you can see, Leo's going to stand a little bit more centered in the mat and then re-establish the Tadasana, taking the fingers to the chest. And then a really nice opening action as you soften the knees and jump the legs apart. Yeah. So when you come into this pose, just check that your feet are parallel, look down. Always get into this habit to get the symmetry of the pose, and again that grounded down action into the legs from your Tadasana. Lift up through the frontal pelvis, through the frontal hips. So much. Keep these arms really strong and extended. Turn your left foot in and the whole of your right foot and leg out, and then keep that lift. Now with a nice inhalation, lift up and extend over into Trikonasana. Now you can see here that I'm just going to put my foot onto Leo's outer foot bone here. Now you can practice this pose with the outer edge of the foot. If you've got a bit of wall space, this works really good, because what you want to do is to really ground from this outer hip all the way down to that edge, either the wall edge or, as Leo is doing here, into the foot. Now just put the hand onto the hip for a moment and see that you ground into that back leg even more. Now this side of the body tends to go back really quickly. So you've got to bring it forward slightly, just slightly, and bring this area forward. So you can see the difference of the adjustment on Leo, that it's not just that upper body that needs to go back, but it's that lower body that needs to come forward. So remember that. And then taking the arm up, extending up, pushing up, keeping that nice action. And taking a breath in and coming up out of the pose and turning the feet to face forward. And we've got the other side to do now, taking your right foot in, the whole of your right leg and foot out. And just notice that when you come into this pose, just check that your heel is in line with the back instep. This is a very good instruction. And again, it keeps that symmetry of the pose. And if you've got some wall space, or you've got something that you can push that outer foot bone into, then that really helps as well, just to give you that stability in the pose. then lifting up and extend over into Trikonasana. So keeping that action. Now put your hand down. Again, we're going to exercise this action. Once you get those legs really nice and straight, pulling up from the kneecaps on both legs, keeping that strength there. See that you just bring this top forward, so this area can get a little bit of a look in, so you can get that turning action. So this takes a little bit of time to master, and if you're a little bit unstable, then do take your back to a wall. Then extend the top arm up. Yes, this is it. So I'm just going to put Leo's arm into alignment there. And then keep all of that, keep the extension as you come up. So quite often, when I know in our beginners classes with students, when they come up, they think that's the end of the pose. It certainly isn't the end of the pose. Turning the feet and then jump the legs together. And then stand back into Tadasana. And again, see that you find your balance in your leg work. Take the weight right back into the heels and lift up. And then bring this armpit chest really nicely forward. And then focus on your breath. Be aware of your breath. Just take a few moments. So this is the beauty with the practice, is that you can just come back to Tadasana and find that connection and unite the breath with your posture. We're coming for Parsvakonasana now, so taking your fingers to your chest and then jumping the legs apart. Okay, so now we're taking the legs a little bit wider, and the reason for this is that we're going to make a square with our front leg. So turning your feet again, left foot in, right foot out. So you can see here the thigh bone is quite big. Now we're just going to give you a little demonstration here. If Leo takes their legs in a little bit, you can see what happens, how much you can bend. Now we're taking that, we need to keep the shin as perpendicular as possible. So this really is a difficult one, because actually she's blocked her pose completely. So she's going to take her legs a little bit wider, sharpen your back leg, and then see that you bend your front leg. That's it. Now you can see the square coming. Now just rest the front arm onto the thigh and be there. Now keep this arm pushing back in this way. Keep this arm pushing back. Now we haven't got any props here, so it's a very simple task. If you find that taking the hand further down to the floor is too much, then you practice this action, rolling the shoulder back and down, and continue with the wrist onto the thigh. Otherwise, take your hand down in front of the thigh. So there's several ways you can take the hand in the classic way, behind the thigh, but we're taking it in front. And you've got to be sure that this arm is pushing against the thigh itself. And then taking the arm up and taking it over. Now pushing into that back leg. Again, I'm going to give Leo a little bit of support, just kicking her there. I'm going to give her a little bit of support and pushing back into the heel. That's it. Yes, all of this needs to happen. And again, this area wants to come, so we've just got to sober this a little bit and bring this area around. That's got to move. So it's very challenging. And then taking a breath in and coming up. So we have to be a little bit careful, so we have to quieten the areas that are a little bit speedy and quicker in action, and work those areas that are a little bit sleepy. So turning your right foot in and your left foot out, and lifting up through the centre of the body, and again make that square with that leg. Make the square. And now see, can you hinge over again, taking the wrist and reaching this arm this way. So if it is a real problem, a difficult action to take the hand down, obviously if you've got your kit bag, you can put your hand onto a brick, but otherwise take the hand down onto the floor. Get that action. And again here, we're going to take the arm up and over. And we've got to see that actually for this area to move, we've got to release this area a little bit and then give this a little bit more action, a little bit more work. So you've got to be careful when you come into this revolving action that you don't stick your bottom out at the back, it stays in. And you've got to keep that action in your back leg. So this is really quite a strong action. It takes time, it takes time. Take a breath in and come up and turning the feet to face forward and jump those legs together. Just be in Tadasana for a moment, just getting your breath back. So if these poses are new to you and you think that they are really difficult, well, they do continue to be fairly difficult for a little while, unfortunately. We cannot sell it any better than that, but please practice them.
It does get better with time. I mean, as you gain strength and stamina, but you don't get anything for nothing. You have to put a little bit of effort into these poses.
Definitely, so just join us in a seated position now. So that was our 3 poses today. We hope you enjoyed them.
And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. If you like the video, please click on the like button and do have a look at the playlist once we've got all of the 18 days up. Namaste.